Hi, this is my Dres visiting craft design solely to visit Dres, of course. And I do this because I saw a video that mentioned that people never visit Dres. And this is true because for me even I visited only once and it was not really interesting. But there was a mention about some canyon, so I thought I will land in the canyon to make it more interesting. Not that boring thing. So just I had to do this before 1.0 comes out because of all the changes and whatever. So this is the usual stuff. Use the boosters to get into the altitude, do a 10 kilometer gravity turn, at least start it at around 10 kilometers. And when the boosters are off, just detach them and go along with this single mainsail, which will get us into orbit. In this case 80 kilometers altitude, so that I have some room to play with because of the nuclear engine. And that injection burn is not that easy because this is far away and we need a lot of delta V, and the nuclear engine is very lousy when it comes to thrust to weight ratio. So I had to do this injection in 3 steps in this case. And there was also a thing with the moon, I think. I had to avoid it. Here we go. So I did the mid-course plane change. I needed that because of the high inclination of Dres. This also served as a correction burn for the precise rendezvous, what I finally got. Yeah, this was a 7 minutes long burn. And here is my rendezvous. And we are going very nicely towards this. In the sphere of influence, I needed to break away like around 1200 meters per second delta V, and I chose to do it in steps because Dres doesn't have much gravity. It will not make me go faster, so it doesn't matter where I do it, and my trajectory was almost a straight line. And I was really afraid of the nuclear engine. I mean that it will not break me soon enough, and thus running past the away address, it would have been hard to turn back and get an orbit. This was also a long burn. I used the HUD to keep my point, my altitude. So in this case, the apoapsis is around 20 kilometers. And finally, in orbit, circularized to 35 kilometers, and I was ready to detach the landing stage from this probe body. Check the fuel tanks whether they are full. Sometimes strange things happen that the fuel is sucked out of the later stages through these decouplers, but I had a workaround for this point. So a small metal plate which blocks fuel flow. Of course it's some extra weight, but still it works. So I had to wait until the canyon got into view again, and I waited too much because I should have landed now, but I went past through it and waited another orbit. Because of that I needed to do an inclination change soon enough, because the canyon was now north from my trajectory. But this was a tiny burn, and this lander is equipped for things like this. It doesn't have that much reserve fuel, but it is designed to land in this canyon, so it has some reserve fuel for maneuvering. I was speeding above the ground, so close that I could see my shadow. And here's the canyon. So I started my brake. Some minor corrections to land in the middle. And when I had no horizontal velocity, I just had to cancel my vertical velocity near the ground. It was not perfect because I hopped a little bit, but nothing damaged. This was actually not the bottom part of the canyon, probably a few hundred meters deeper. I mean the deepest part, but I got the guys out anyways, and was happy to land it there. But this was just a short visit, so I wanted to go back to Caribbean as soon as possible. And I waited for the probe to get around, but it turned out that I started my ascent too soon. Here it's important to avoid the canyon wall, so burn upwards for a while instead of just turning to the east, because yeah, we have to clear past the canyon walls. This wastes some fuel, but the lander still had some fuel reserves left, so it's not that critical. This is the usual orbital rendezvous stuff. I was too soon, so I had to go to a higher orbit, which also wasted some fuel. In this higher orbit, I waited until the service module or cruise stage or whatever got close enough, so I could do my rendezvous burn towards it. And the thing is that we don't want to take back the lander because we don't have enough fuel for that. So this has to be detached as the docking port is behind it. The remaining resources are only some battery and RCS on the probe, so one has to be careful to do this. But this is something I have done thousands of times already, so this is not a problem, and I finished the docking in a few minutes without wasting much fuel or battery power. Dang. So here's the docking. And after this, we just have to escape, which is very easy because the Dres is small, like 250 meters per second of delta V or something like that. And I had to find a point which makes an easy rendezvous with Caribbean. And in this case, it turned out that I have a point that is very close to one of the nodes. I don't know whether it was ascending or descending node, but it was very close, and it meant that I didn't need to do that much inclination change, and I could do the brake and braking burn at the same point, so it spared some fuel. It was several minutes long burn, and there was not much fuel remaining. But I knew that whatever happens, I can take the ship back now because there was enough fuel, and the worst case I could just crash into the ocean or something. But if possible, I wanted to land at the space center as I usually do. So yes, inclination corrections, it turned out that it was not so good because I had to waste several hundred meters per second of delta V just to correct this inclination again. And here's the fiery re-entry for the aero capture. Normally this wouldn't be survivable without a heat shield, so this was the reason why I needed to do this just before 1.0. The rest is just boring stuff: the inclination change, aero braking, and getting a circularization, so getting a circular orbit on my usual 72 kilometers altitude for my final run towards the space center. Of course, it's possible to do without the inclination change, but then I would have needed to land at the night side, and I didn't want to do that. It's not really visible and cannot see what's there. It's hard to target. Not to mention the inclination itself makes it harder to target any point on the surface because of the rotation of the planet. But we were almost there. At this point I knew that there was enough fuel in this to do this. However, I liked it. So after the complete circularization, just waited for the space center to move to the light so that I can see, and started my final burn. Here's the weight, yes. So here's the final burn, which turned out a little bit short because I ended up on the small hills next to the space center. Detached the cruise stage, and strangely enough I still saw the nuclear engine in the staging tools, which shouldn't have been there. And yes, burn, and yes, open parachute, and I cushioned the fall with the monopropellant engines on board. Thanks for watching. Bye.